So stats, let's go over them again. The most basic of your stats, your HP, goes to 0, you're dead. So, it's good to have more of it. Your attack is the damage that your skills will do. So when you attack with Bloodied Blade here, it does, it hits 3 people at random for 90% of your attack. So in that case, it would be like 180, something like that. And then defense is what gets subtracted from attack when you attack somebody. So if Seraph attacks Seraph, she would do that 180k minus 114k, end up being like 60k or something. Agility determines the order in which people go. So on my team, Miyu goes first, followed by Seraph, followed by Ying Zhang, followed by Jia, followed by Zizi, followed by Dio-chan. Crit. The crit number is your percentage of a chance to crit, which I really think is just divided by 1,000. The res gets subtracted from the crit, so about a 9%. If this is a 30% chance to crit, and this is a 21% chance to resist a crit, then for like every 3 attacks you do, one of them is a crit, and then for every one of those crits, there is a 21% chance that it will not be a crit. I don't know if the numbers are just subtracted from each other when it happens, or if it's more like how I just explained it. I hope it's more like how I just explained it, because just having a flat 9% chance to crit is kind of dumb. Your damage buff is so when you hit, you do damage. That damage is increased by the percentage of your damage buff. So if we go back to the example of attack minus defense, Seraph's going to hit Seraph 3 times for 90% damage. Let's just stick with the first hit. 0.9 of 203,922. So her attack does 183,530 damage, rounding up. And then she hits with that, and then this defense gets subtracted from it. 114,846. So I'm left with 68,683.8 damage. But I have a damage buff of 186.3%. So that'd be 68683 times 1 plus 1.863. So my damage comes out to 196,000 instead, because of the damage buff. But then there's the damage resistance. So after the damage buff goes through and like this damage is calculated, then it gets multiplied by, or it gets reduced by the damage res. So we go 19639.4 divided by 1 plus 1.25. So the damage calculates to 157,312 after all is said and done. That is a lot different than just this minus this. Anyways, that's one of the reasons why I think that's why I say damage buff is so important, because it acts on the damage after you deal it. And the only thing that can mitigate it is damage res. One of the things I found out in this game, though, is attack is really, really important. So, like, I just did 157,312 because of how much damage went through, because 196k went through. But let's say, and this is why you find yourself losing to higher might people, like, so easily. Like, while you'll be doing really good, and then you'll fight a higher might person, and then all of a sudden you're doing, like, 10 damage to him. Let's say, alright, so I have 203,922 attack, and then let's say, and then we multiply that times 0.9, And then let's say that our opponent has 195k defense. Let's make it 190, or let's make it 180, because that goes into the negative, and then you do minimum damage. So that calculates out to 3.53, like literally 3,530 damage, compared to what we got last time. And then the damage modifiers go through. So yay, cool, I get, so times 2.863, 10,106 damage. Yay! And then we'll go, and we're not even done yet because they have damage res. So 10,106 divided by 2.25. So the damage comes out to 4,500. 4,502. So as you can see, attack is really, 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 really important. I went from doing like boatloads and all the only amount of defense I only needed to add about 65k defense to mitigate almost all of that attack that I stacked. So yeah, that's why damage buff is important, and why attack is important. Crit is important too, because you get that nice big fat crit damage, and there isn't a whole lot of crit damage res. Also, it's funny that they put the crit damage as crit rate, but this is crit rate. That might be a mistranslation. Crit damage is the amount of damage you do plus your regular damage. If we go back to that, let's say that we crit on that one attack. What was that? So 183,530. So we're back up to the big almost 200k damage. Well, we trigger a crit. We get the regular damage, but we also get the crit damage. So we do 183,529 minus the defense. We go through that same calculator. So we get to the 157k, but now we get to add our crit damage, 262.2. That would be 1 plus 2.622 as the multiplication calculation. So now things have changed quite a bit. Now we're doing 570,000 damage after that. And then with the crit damage res, I mean, like whatever, it's not nearly as easy to get, or it's not going to help too much. So if we do that divided by 1 plus 0.618, we still did 352,000 damage. So that's how attack, defense, crit res, damage buff, damage res, crit damage, and crit damage res all work together. Accuracy is like the most misunderstood stat, I think. Even people that like still use it don't always understand what it does. Some people don't even put accuracy on anybody, which is, fine, I guess, but you're never gonna you're gonna think your doctors suck. Accuracy is a value that gets added to skills that have control abilities or other kinds of debuffs. Miyu's ability here is a 45% chance times 1 plus accuracy to stun the targets for 1 round. So she has whatever 100. Where's she at right now? 117% accuracy. So ultimately, it comes to a 45 times 1 plus 1168. 1 plus 1.168. So Miyu's percentage of a chance to stun is 98%. That's why when you see me fight, you see me stunning like all the time. Her, and then likewise, her rage skill is a 34% chance. Gives her a 73.7% chance to confine. So yeah, accuracy is a very useful skill. Evasion is just, it straight up decreases your opponent's accuracy. So in this case, it would be 34% times 1 plus 1.168 divided by, sorry for all the math, but I'm trying to like get the definitions across. 73.712 divided by 1 plus 0.636. So if Miyu was trying to hit herself with a stun, she would only have a 45% chance to do it. Or sorry, with her rage skill. Now, if we go up to the 45% chance, she still has a 60% chance to do it. So that's accuracy and evasion. So basically, you do not need accuracy if you don't have a skill that uses accuracy. So there's no accuracy here. So she does not use accuracy. She does use evasion. So these HP buffs, these are just the ones that you get from Awaken, and they're just a straight up percentage increase. It's already calculated into this stat, but this is basically just the current value of whatever the stat it is. So like HP times 1.28 gives it 20. You get 28% more of your HP, defense, and attack. There's other percentages elsewhere that aren't accounted for, but they are rolled into this stat. But like yeah, so like this, the 28% here is what's shown up here. So if you're using my stat calculator, you don't need to calculate them both. You don't need to input both. And then we have basic percent increases. So these are not just all your stats times 1.15 or whatever. This is just your base stats are just what you get from upgrading and leveling up. Hold on, I'm fact checking myself to make sure I'm not lying. Right. So all of your upgrade values and all of your level up values and your original base stats, all of those are what get increased by this. They also get increased by the other one too. It's just they also get this kind of a boost. So when you're looking at your crystal, this is like important for crystals because crystals give percentage increases of basic. So you get ultimately, if your hero's destiny is filled up, you get 40% basic attack, 40% basic HP, and 40% basic defense, just by default. But then you can add these fun numbers to it. And your basic can get pretty high. Hold on, I'm trying to find my sheet for Seraph. So I'm going to flip windows real quick. Actually, let's just do full screen. I got nothing to hide. So your basic stats here are the things that get calculated in, and they get multiplied by 1 plus your basic stats. You can see here, like my my basic attack buff it looks ridiculously high compared to my other buffs. But the reason why is I'm only getting this amount off of these 3 cells. So your basic, your level up, and your upgrades. So yeah, it's all this fun, all this calculation stuff right here, which is all super fun. I have all the algorithms. I think I could just write a little damage versus damage accuracy, etc. calculator thing. And another thing they do is this thing will calculate your total stats, but it doesn't tell you where they're all coming from. And your stats, like the things that give you stats, are all over the freaking place. Like your constellation, your ride, your costume. One thing to look out for when you're looking at your stats, or even if you're become a patron and use my calculator, some of these outside of like the actual hero screen don't say team on them, and some say team. So like this collection right here only affects my main character, while this top part only affects my main character. The second part affects everybody. So you have to look out for that team. Hey, there it is. Ooh, 500 ingots. Wonderful.